And welcome back to the Dean Obeidallah Show. We're live here Friday, February 13th. It's the third hour on Friday, which must mean on this show, what just happened? And we have three great comedians, a PhD as well, and a comedian. Andrea Jones-Rooy, a PhD, a comedian, circus performer, has her own podcast. Like everyone, so much going on. Data King, Data Queen. What term do you want?
That's right. Data dictator for life is my preferred term.
All right. And we have Carole Montgomery, who's fighting some kind of disease of some sort. She's coughing and sneezing. She just flew yesterday. She created Showtime special, three of them, funny women of a certain age. She's a national headliner, plays all over the nation. How are you, my friend? That's Carol's normal voice.
Yeah, that is my normal. How are you, Dean? I'm fine. I'm just, whenever you fly, the next day you always are like, full of stuff. So I'll be
Interesting.
fine.
I don't fly as much, but I remember back to those days. But here's someone who flies all the time. Our friend Dustin Chafin. He's a national headliner. He's taken from HBO's Crashing, Showtime's Comedy Showcase, to performing opening for Nate Bargatze all over the nation. And he's featured on WTF with Mark Maron not too long ago. Nice to see you, Dustin.
Hey, good to see you. I've been in the waiting room since 4 a.m. So
Dustin was very excited. Yeah. Dustin was very excited about being here.
I just want to miss it. LA time. I'm in LA time, so you always think
he's on LA time. Dustin had 3 opening acts before he came on. Like he had to go open for him. And now you're next, and now you're headlining. You ready, Dustin Chafin? I'm like, I'm ready. Bring him on. Baby. So let's talk about performances. Pam Bondi, she would not get late night New York Comedy Club. This was just like, her one-person show with the Senate was arguably, objectively a little bit better. She made some points. This was awful. Mm-hmm. This was like screaming and shrill and awkward silence at times, just sitting there. And even right-wing people that like Newsmax guy said she's got to go, and others on the right are like, this is not normal. So, I mean, Carole, I watch clips. I can't watch the whole thing. It makes you so dumb if you do. But it's beyond defensiveness. Like there's something going on. I'm not quite sure what.
Well, as somebody who directs solo show, I would say she needs to really have somebody go in and direct her, because it was all over the place. She was not likable. She laughed at her own jokes. I mean, these are two big things. If you want to get away with that type of shittiness, make sure you're liked. Do you know what I mean? Like right. I always say, one of the best performances, on this TV series is James Gandolfini when he's playing Tony Soprano, because that man was an evil, evil douchebag, and yet you rooted for him every time. So as a director, I'm like, Pam, call me. I charge a lot of money because it's you, bitch. But I mean, she nobody liked her. No, I mean, she was the most. I have the arrogance. But she's always had the arrogance. I don't know. I really don't know what her end game was there. Like, did she think that, like, is she going to go back to Schmucko and go, Daddy, did I do okay? Because I mean, I just, like you, I did not watch. I just watched a couple of clips and I was like, oh okay. This is what we're doing? I'm like, talk about doubling down. I mean, wow.
I think it's great that you viewed it as a director of one-person shows and how you could have helped her. Like, if you would have contacted me, I could have made this. There's no through line.
Exactly.
Redundant. They're derivative. We've seen all these characters before. Over the top, shrill person defending Donald Trump. Done that, seen that. What else you got? And maybe she would have dug a little deeper into herself and gave us something original.
There could have been some dance at some point. That might have.
Maybe
some costume change.
Yeah.
A flashback. Wouldn't a flashback? Hang on, let me take you back to 2012. And she looks off and she comes back. Hi, Donald. How are you? That kind of stuff. Like, what's going on? And
interpretive dance would have been lovely.
Her crowd work was terrible.
Like, yes. Maybe a ballad. Maybe she does. Or in the there's always the showstopper number at the end of the second act. There was none of that.
That's right.
But Dustin, in a way, she was the heckler and the heckled.
Yeah.
And she heckled people. Like, you don't know if you see that. Like,
I mean, it is a basic comedy move. You just instantly go against the audience. You're like, no, it's just not going to work for you. It's really bad.
She's like the comics, like, I know you hate me. I'm like, they didn't hate you before that. You ever see people that are so self-destructive, like one joke doesn't get a laugh? Like, what's wrong with you people? You guys suck. And they're like, what? And I have a binder of things to say about you. Like,
well, and it also, at least she wasn't on a big lineup with a bunch of other comics, because I've done the thing where you have to go after the comic who just spent the whole time complaining that the audience was the reason they were failing, and then you have to like win them back. So I at least appreciate that she wasn't opening for any of us.
Yeah, but then RFK Jr. had to follow her, and he came up with that great
Well,
line.
that's true.
So
it's different. It's we'll wait for RFK Jr. because that's a special conversation. We have to get to it, 'cause that is really confusing me here, Dustin. I mean, don't you want to be likable a little? You're Attorney General of the United States, or at least have a decorum of being like you've got to this position, Attorney General of the United States of America, highest law enforcement officer in the country. It actually used to mean something. And she's in there like it's a bar fight at 2 a.m. in like Miami Beach or like Daytona Beach, more like Fort Lauderdale.
No, it's not. She's not in Florida. She's somewhere.
Yeah, she's playing to the one comic in the back of the room.
That's right.
That's you know what I mean? That's all she cares about.
He's the booker. Like, she's playing to the booker.
she's going to get booked again. Doesn't matter if she bombs or not.
Yeah.
Like, I remember audition at the comic strip. The worst thing is after you do a set and you come off and the booker's like, how do you feel like it went? I'm like, how do you feel like it went? Like, how do I feel? I'm not here for how I felt. I'm
like when you get a haircut and people are like, oh, do you like it? Like about your own haircut. And you're like, oh, that means you don't, which is why you're asking me if I like it. So bad news.
I always thought it was funny when people, or the worst is when people were like, and as comics, I'm sure you've all gone through this. People go like, hey, I saw your thing, your set. And then,
I'm
like, and? Like, how do you not know I'm a needy person? I do. I do this for compliments, not for like. And I'm gonna think about it now before I say anything. Does it hurt you to say like it was funny? Does it hurt that bad? Just say it was funny.
The worst I've gotten, Dean, is I do a lot of hosting, so like emceeing shows and like bringing comics up, and like you're supposed to also do some material and interact with the audience and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes after shows, people will come up to me and say, wow, do you also do comedy?
It's almost like somebody bombing and then in the middle of it, like, give it up for the troops. Like,
right.
That's what she was doing. She was just randomly saying things Trump was doing and just to get like the crowd back. And you're like, it's not working.
Or when at the end of the show, you're all standing there and someone comes directly to the other comic and then goes, oh, and you were funny too.
Yeah.
I don't even get that. I just get that, you know.
They just say great job to everybody.
Validate parking. The idea like you should do comedy, or if you were a comic as well, when I used to host all the time, was the weirdest thing. Look, I mean, look, it's
like you should try it sometime. It's like, what do you think? I was on stage more than any of those people, but okay. Right, I will say I took the performance from Pam Bondi more as a performance art myself. So if you're not trying to be funny, you're not trying to be likable, maybe there's a version where she's trying to really say something meta about the state of contentious politics in the United States. And
that she nailed.
Yeah, exactly.
She stayed in the pocket. She stayed in the pocket. Like she never, she just stayed in there.
So she was a physical manifestation.
That's right. So if she were inside of like a glass cube inside of an art museum doing this, I would have said, wow.
If she would have just said at the end of the thing, end scene.
Right. The whole thing was a meta critique. It was very
just want to just say, that really wasn't me. That was to raise awareness of how contentious our politics is.
Right.
And really, I love all these people. They're great people.
That's right.
Even you, Jamie Raskin, that kind of stuff. Like, that would have been, how amazing that would have been?
Yeah.
Or if she in the middle of it was like line, she did have lines. She had do you guys know she had a notebook of insults of the Democratic members of Congress? I'm not even kidding. They weren't written as jokes. They were written as Apple research. And Jamie Raskin, you traded stocks and literally, I'm not even kidding. That's what she did more work on that than in prosecuting people who raped children.
So she thought she was at a roast battle? Is that what she thought was going on?
What'd you say?
She thought she was at a roast battle.
It was like it was everyone against her. That's a tough thing. Think about it. If you're one comic and everyone's after you, and you got to go, and the Republicans aren't good. Even the ones on your side, you're like, I don't, just shut up. Like I can do this alone.
But, do you remember there used to be a performance artist? I'm really dating myself, and I forgot her name. It was Karen something, but but she was like out there, and her finale was she would take yams and shove it up her twat.
Perfect.
No, I don't know.
Right.
So had Pam done that, I mean, I would have been, bravo. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's had something orange inside of her, I'm sure.
Oh, there you go. Thank you. See how I did that? That was like I was like Magic Johnson. I just threw that to Dustin.
That was behind the back, alley-oop, and boom, says Dustin.
I'm never eating a yam again. I'll tell you that.
I even hate to bring up serious topics now, but let's move on to. Well, I will say, look, the Jeffrey Epstein file. She's doing nothing to investigate, and she's just reminding people she covered up for Jeffrey Epstein and Powerful Men when she was AG of Florida from 2011, 2019, when he was doing a rape ring and she never investigated him. So that was the serious thing. But we've seen people lose their jobs over the Epstein file, this time more than others. There's a big lawyer here who's the head of a big law firm. His name's Brad Karp, lost his job. Another big lawyer at Goldman Sachs just lost their job.
Yep.
You've got in the UK people losing jobs.
Yep.
And you've got, of course, Trump, nothing. The guy's in the file a million times. Like the estimate is maybe a million times. Like nothing. To me, it's like, well, that's just Trump being Trump type of bullshit. I don't get it. I mean, I'm not sure what I should expect at this point because Trump attempted a coup and decided to attack, and he's there and he's not charged. So, I mean, doesn't anything about the new Epstein file drop? Anything surprise you? And any idea why this time a few people are actually losing their jobs, which in the past was just like, well, whatever. Now it seems a little bit more serious.
I mean, I think Nick DiPaolo got canceled from a Funny Bone coming up.
He's a comedian. He's like
he wasn't in it Sunday.
No,
but you hear somebody new every day, and it doesn't surprise me. None of this does, I mean,
maybe that's part of it. But I'm kind of surprised some people are losing their jobs now because that's sort of the shrug of society. Powerful men do horrible things to women and horribly children as well for decades, for time immemorial. And now, for some reason, the little window was Me Too, and then that window closed, and Trump was able to push back societal norms where it doesn't matter anymore, which is horrible. And now we've got this. Andrea, as a data PhD circus scientist thing, whatever you do.
That's right.
All your things, all your hats. Any sense why some people are losing their job, yet Donald Trump, and the media's barely talking about it. I noted late night comics are doing a great job. Jimmy Kimmel had a joke about, Trump's in there more than Harry Potter gets mentioned in the series 7 Harry Potter books. And Jordan Klepper said there's not as many references to Hamlet in the play Hamlet as there are to Trump in the Epstein files. So I mean, late night comics are doing their job, but corporate media's like, well, whatever.
No. I mean, I think part of it is what you and Dustin were just talking about, which is you do get, the shock value is what draws people in, and it's what we click on, and it's what you put in headlines. And we've been hearing about this for a long time. And then they're absolutely doing the playbook of flood us with information, and having too much information is almost as useless as having not enough. It's more useful, but it can be too much, and you don't even know where to start. But I will also say that kind of the inverse of what Carole was describing about The Sopranos is like Trump has done something where it's like, so many people just agree that he's a lot of people like him, but so many people agree that he's unlikable and bad that you're just sort of like, no further information about how shitty he is news somehow. It's like, oh, he's even worse than I thought, but I already thought he was pretty bad. And so it's like, I don't know what the word is, but he's so deeply unlikable that he's hard to, we can't be shocked or jarred. And like, I am shocked, but I'm also immune at the same time. It's like if you have a fever for so long, you forget you have a fever, and it's hard to shake us out.
True? I don't think that's good medical
advice. Maybe that's a bad metaphor.
RFK Jr.
I've had a fever for 6 years, Dean, and I've been taking all this beef tallow, and it's not helping. And
you should talk to somebody.
I blame the vaccines, is what I do. But
I run at 101. That's all. At at 101. Yeah,
just at 101, just heating things up.
101.5.
Yeah, my energy bill is very low. Yeah.
I think getting back to what you're saying, Andrea, I mean, I think that we're so exhausted.
Yes.
Like the people who've hated him from the beginning, because being a New Yorker, we've known about him. I knew him I thank God didn't know him personally as a teenager, but I remember hearing about him when I was young. This guy was always a prick. And so I think it's not that we're shocked anymore. I think nothing surprises me. Like the stuff that came out on the files, I was like, well, that does not surprise me that he was part of that, because we always knew he was part of that. So I don't know what the solution is. I will say though, what you said, going back to Pam Bondi, what the one thing that asshole has that none of the people in his administration is, he's Teflon. He really is. So maybe Pam Bondi thought, well, I'll be unlikable and a prick just like my boss and everyone. And they know he's untouchable. He really is. I don't know why. I hate that. But anybody else that surrounds him, they're going to get swept up by whatever this is, because I would be really surprised if she does keep her job. I really do. I think this is bad. I think the backlash is bad.
Well, she'll only lose it if she makes him look bad. If he recovers from this, then she'll stay there, because he wants yes people, and that's exactly what he's getting.
Right.
The one thing, Carole, about Trump being untouchable in a way, his approval ratings have come down. Then now they're like the lowest they've been, like 36, 37%. but he also looks horrible. And I
Yes.
wonder if people are discounting and going like, he's not going to be here long, so why even talk about him?
Yeah.
Like yesterday at a press conference with Lee Zeldin, the EPA director, yesterday, and while Zeldin's talking, he's standing there and his eyes closed and he looked like he was in a collapse. His hands were more swollen in a way that we've not seen before. Corporate media barely covers it, but on the internet, everyone covers it. It's real. I make sure it's real footage I'm looking at, not some AI stuff. He looks increasingly, and he was hiding a lot this week, which I've heard from sources, from reporters who tell me their sources on the show say there are times he can't go out in the public. He just looks that bad, and they just keep him in. So we don't know what's going on with the guy. There's no transparency. It's unbelievable. We could have a dying president and we won't even know it. One day we wake up and he's dead, and I can live with that, but I like to be ready for it,
But you know what, like the fact that that he did not go to the Super Bowl because the excuse was it's too far away. He had just been in fucking Europe the week before. So what are you saying? He didn't want to go there because he knew that was going to be, he was going to be embarrassed.
Mm-hmm. He's going to be publicly booed.
He would be publicly booed, just like his vice president did it during the Olympics.
That's probably why he didn't go.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I mean, but what I mean by like there will, I don't think in our lifetime, and maybe I'm wrong, there will ever be anybody like him, as far as the P.T. Barnum effect, because there are people to this day that still defend him. There's, they're lying. He wasn't. There's pictures of him with underage girls.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can't say that he didn't do something.
They can say it. That's what they say.
But they do. They can say it. But like even
they say fake news. It's all fabricated.
Right.
That's,
but like even his first wife.
Yeah, but they don't care. It's like it's all fake. They're just trying to bring down their leader.
There's a term for those people. It's called white people.
Not just white people. That's the scary part.
No, there's a sliver of brown.
It's bigger than you think. I'm around
a little diversity over there, Dean.
Maybe a teeny. But look, if you're white, this is your last hurrah. I mean, you got to be honest. Once he's gone, the brown and black horde of people, we're taking over. I have to be. I mean, you guys will be okay because I like you, but I can't.
We're playing the long game over here, ingratiating ourselves with the brown.
Andrea Jones-Rooy, I don't have to tell you, but it's gonna. He is the guardian of whiteness to the point where the New York Times actually wrote that, not in an op-ed, but an article last week about some of the white supremacists when he put up the Obama images of them as apes and said the base doesn't mind this, and they actually put, as a matter of fact, he's viewed as the guardian of whiteness to a lot of his base. And I'm glad they said that. And again, it wasn't an opinion piece. It was as a news piece. That's how he is viewed by some as the guardian of whiteness.
Well, and maybe you already know this, but I was at a conference a couple weeks ago and I do some like corporate stuff. And there's a fair amount of people on the far right at some of these events. And one of them cornered me to say, you do know that the left hates white people and wants to get rid of us, right? And I was like, I don't think that's what's going on, but okay. But if you think that's what's happening, then you do see Trump as someone who's going to save you because you think that you're under some kind of like false, potential extermination for your race. But I will also say that Trump being ill and withering away and rotting to his core is so. Well, I'm fine with it, but it's frustrating because wasn't he the one who constantly was talking about Biden's health and Biden's not there and
Hillary's health too?
And Hillary's health. Like the idea that we should know about the health of our president is largely A, I agree with it, and B, is something that he has trumpeted forever. And suddenly now he can't be bothered to tell us what's going on.
But his fan base has dementia. They have diabetes.
That's true.
They've had strokes. Like that's his fan base. So hey, they don't care.
He's just like us.
Yeah.
He's just like us.
He's just like us.
Unbelievable.
Is he on Ozempic? Do we know?
He lost some weight.
Yeah.
It's not covered. I know that.
Why is he wearing gloves or fake hands? There's a way to save some of this stuff.
Like big gloves, like funny ones, like a clown?
It was like he could be like fighting Don and wear a boxing match.
Right. Very Mickey Mouse hands. Mickey Mouse
right. Yeah, like really.
Every time I look at him, I'm like, I got to drink more water every time I see him.
Yeah, I'm like, I need vitamin C and I need fresh air.
If he did the big gloves for fun, he goes, I do this for the kids. They love it. And you're like, oh, look, he's all about the kids. Then we're like,
he is all about the kids.
Jerks. He was. Jeffrey Epstein. And this is horrible. All right, let's go to my favorite line of the week. RFK Jr. was on Theo Vaughn's podcast because why? Because it's the end of times. That's why. And they're talking about disease, which you do on a podcast, apparently, with a young bro guy. And RFK Jr. bragged, and here's his exact line, because he's not concerned. He goes, I'm not scared of a germ. I used to snort cocaine off of toilet seats.
Cool.
I'm not scared of a germ. I used to snort cocaine off of toilet seats. It's like in Match Game. And God, dun, dun, dun. Like, what? You're a Kennedy. You could have snorted cocaine anywhere. You picked toilet seats. Are you kidding me? You could have people flown in. You're a goddamn Kennedy.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Like you're bright. Like I don't know if this is a humble. Like this in his worm brain.
Yeah,
is a good thing. I don't get it. Like I'm not going to judge anyone who's done cocaine. I haven't done cocaine, but like, why would you brag about this? And this is, I guess, on the broadcast. Dustin, any sense of what happened here? I mean.
Well, I used to be a big cocaine guy, and
is that true?
Hasn't he heard of like a bump? You know what I mean? You don't have to do it on a toilet seat. It's My whole rule with cocaine was I'll only do cocaine if it's in a nice apartment. Like that was my rule. I was never going to.
It had to be a nice apartment, and does it have to be on a certain a marble counter? Like were you certain things that it had to be?
Yeah, mirror. That's the beauty of cocaine. It was a beautiful experience. You're just on the mirror, and it's like a fancy place. Like that
was very decadent. I had a nice cocaine journey myself, but my problem was I did it in China where you could just be doing straight poison or dish soap or whatever. But even there were no toilet seats. We managed to keep it elevated. It's very easy to not be disgusting.
Look, Carole, RFK Jr. said this to be like cool in his mind.
No, he did.
And I don't get it. I'm like, what is are there young guys out there who doing, is coke back for young people?
No, but here's the deal. All he had to do when he said that line, because he goes, I used to snort cocaine off of a toilet seat and then beat at CBGB's, then he's cool.
Right.
Oh, like at a cool punk club.
Then it's cool because the shit that was going on in CBGB's during the 70s was, I mean, you walk into the bathroom, you're like, oh, good, I just got knocked up and I have herpes and I didn't fuck anybody. Right. So had he done that, if he's going for the cool factor, then that definitely works. But just to say a toilet seat.
To Theo Von's fan base, he's cool.
I guess.
Carole, you got to direct all these people. If I hated the guy, I would say because that's a huge tip. That would have really turned his whole monologue around. They
know.
Would benefit from hiring you. Again, I don't want it to happen, but you could make a lot of money and they'd really be doing a lot better.
Well, if I was put on the payroll of this administration, I'd never get paid. So no, thank you. But,
you could get a profile in Vanity Fair, at least.
Well, exactly. The Secretary of Health and Human Services does cocaine off a toilet seat. There you go, folks. So trust his advice on health issues because he knows germs and he's fine with it. I hope the Kennedy family is really proud of it. They're not. I know they don't like him.
They hate him. They hate him. They're just what happened? What happened to him? Like seriously.
Yeah. I want a psychological profile or like I know that the family has all kinds of horrible things that have happened, but something really twisted him up in a special way. Maybe the cocaine on toilet seats. I don't know.
I think worse than that comment was having to listen to Theo Von for 35 minutes. How is that idiot big? I have no idea.
Isn't that the amazing? There are young people on Instagram doing things that we've all seen years ago. People are like, oh my God, look, this person talks to people on the street like they invented it. That's not that amazing. What do you do for a living? Wow, this person's great. What do you do for a living? I'm going to shoot myself.
You're listening to a guy with a mullet and taking advice.
I look, the younger generation, but younger people relate to peers. And I understand that. But when they go like, that person's a genius, I'm like, they're doing nothing original. They're doing something that we've all seen before. But it's your generation's doing that. And then there'll be another younger one who will do it after that and then whatever. So
I'm mostly just holding on now until Gen Alpha thinks they invented everything that Gen Z is currently excited about. And then watching Gen Z die inside is like, that's literally the only thing I have hope for in this future.
It's Gen Alpha. And what's going to be after Gen Alpha? What do you do then?
Beta, I guess.
Gen Beta?
It sounds bad. It sounds pretty bad.
I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
You know Gen Z, right? Gen Z.
I only know boomers. That's what I am.
Okay, so you know everything, but Gen Z, and then below the newest, and the fetuses are going to have a different name. I don't know.
So what age is Gen Alpha?
Like kids, like 6th grade and younger, or like high school and younger now.
20 years will all be dead anyway.
Well, it doesn't matter. Yeah, the whole
it's all going.
They'll run the world. I hope. All right, so let's take a break. When we come back, we got a lot to cover, including we got to go back and touch on Bad Bunny and Kid Rock.
There we go.
I know that Dustin's a big Kid Rock fan. So
I used to be. I'm not going to lie.
It's fine.
It was a minute.
He had some good songs, but now he lip syncs them. So let's take a break and come back with more of what just happened right after this. And welcome back. And we're continuing what just happened. Andrea Jones-Rooy, Carole Montgomery, and Dustin Chafin. So look, here's the weird thing. The Bad Bunny fight and Kid Rock was actually nostalgic to the day of culture wars, where that's as serious as it got. You know, look, on the right, they're outraged because there's a performer at the Super Bowl. It wasn't like a person like Trump trying to end our democracy and put journalists in jail and put troops in the street and all this other stuff that is so serious. It's like, oh, this is refreshing. I really wish it was our only concern. Like, if that's the only concern was fighting over Bad Bunny versus Kid Rock, we'd be in such a better place as a nation.
Yeah.
But everybody engaged in this. It was instantaneous. Everyone took their sides. I like Bad Bunny. I don't know. I mean, I know Tita Mi Pregundo, the song he sang at the top, because that's a big, that sort of transcended the music, and it was very popular. But the white people really got upset to the point where they did a counter programming of a whites only show. Like, it was Kid Rock and 3 white performers by TPUSA. That's by design. There are, as you guys mentioned, there are brown and black people who like MAGA. They could have picked one, but they picked all white, and that was by design. And I wonder if it's about going to segregation, like saying, well, we can't compete, so we're just going to segregate, and we're going to be with our type of whites here, white MAGAs. MAGA, I call them MAGA whites, like a cheap wine. They're like the MAGA whites. They're a special type of white. And you brown and black people do your thing there, and any white friends. I mean, Carole, what do you think? I mean, this was really, went on. It's still articles today about the backlash. It's a full week of this stuff.
Well, okay, I am so not Bad Bunny's demographic. I am a 78-year-old middle-aged white woman. And I was in Florida. We always fly in the night before whenever we're doing a bunch of shows. And so I was there the night before. You know, I'd flown in, and I was like, we went to go get dinner and everything. I said, I have to be home. I have to be back in the hotel to watch Bad Bunny. And I sat there by myself with my little Coke Zero, and I waited until he went. And I smiled the entire time. I had no idea what he was talking about. I don't know the lyrics, but the message of hope and joy, it was like this in the middle of everything we're going through. I thought it was amazing. I've never liked Kid Rock. I always thought that man was a piece of shit. So, you know, I mean, what I loved really about the whole Bad Bunny thing was when the first shot is, you know, the camera comes down, and I went, are those sugar canes on the football field? Oh, this is, strap, and then a bodega, and then Domino's, and I was like, oh my God, because we as New Yorkers, that culture, the Puerto Rican culture is such a big part of New York City. Right. So it was just, I thought it was great. I mean, like as a white person, I hate to say this. Well, I don't hate to say this. White people, we're the minority. We've been the minority before. We've been the minority before, like before Obama was president. It's okay. You know, it's really, you know, people are just people. You know what he said? The only thing more powerful than hate is love. It's like, what are you doing? I mean, why are you dividing us at this point? And his thing was just, it was beautiful. I'm going to start tearing up.
It reminded me too, like In the Heights, the Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yes.
He did a Broadway show, and then it's a musical that you can see the movie of it, where it was just a celebration and joy. And this joy of Puerto Rican heritage, which is part of American heritage, so upset the right. And I'm just like, well, why are you so upset? You have to follow, and some hate watch it, and others went to go watch Kid Rock, who literally lip sync. Like, if you'd rather watch Kid Rock lip sync than a live performance of Bad Bunny, you're saying so much to us. Like, there's a white supremacy thing going on here. But what do you say? I mean, liking Kid Rock's music is different than he was used as he is now a political actor in a way.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's complaining about the English. Meanwhile, his opening song is bada ding, bada bong, bada bing, whatever that is. That's not English. What is that? Everybody's upset by it. But no, I really feel like, you know, I think it should be forced in this country to live abroad for 2 years. I mean, I lived in Chile when I was like 20 for 2 years. I didn't speak English. I was in little villages. I was the only person who spoke English. And that's the thing. This world is so big and so global. And it's like, people are like, the best action movies are in America. No, they're in Korea. The best food is not in America. America, it's like you have to embrace all of that. And that was the beauty. I remember when Buena Vista Social Club came out. Nobody understood those lyrics, but it was incredible music. And it's like the fact that people are just so small-minded, that's the biggest crime, that they can't appreciate anything bigger than the United States.
But they also, Andrea, they also find it like a threat. It's not that they can't appreciate it.
Yeah.
This is the end of America. They're replacing us with a brown American citizen. Like, and then you had some Republicans say he's not, or one of the guy, Jake Paul, not a member of Congress, Randy Fine wants him investigated, but another said he's a fake American. He's born as an American. You're born in Puerto Rico. You're a U.S. citizen. It's like being born in New York City. You're a U.S. citizen. That's it.
But there wasn't one hardcore male MAGA that wasn't appreciating those beautiful people that were dancing around and stuff. I bet they stopped their hate for that.
They're watching that. They're like, look at this. Okay, let's hold our judgment for this. But Andrea, I mean, from a social science data circus performer point of view, why the fear of Whitey? And I'll call them Whitey.
I mean, the most generous is, well, there's kind of two answers. One answer is I think Dustin is on the right track, which is basically we just have this sense that it must be a zero-sum game, that if another culture is getting a spotlight or doing something interesting or we're enjoying their music or their food or their cinema or whatever, that somehow it's like a threat to our own, where it's like there's room for all the cultures in the world. And I was reminded of when Gangnam Style took over like 10-something years ago. Like, we didn't have to know those words to love that song. It's fantastic, right? Right. And it's what a wonderful glimpse into another culture. And so I perceive it as a gift. The best kind of arguments I've read in the social science side of things, or one of the ones I find more persuasive, is that in general, and this is more about like immigration and fears about that sort of thing, is that all the stories about like, oh, they're taking our culture or they're taking our jobs or they're whatever is cover for a deeper fear that somehow our way of life is going to have to change. Like, the fear is that if I am watching someone on the Super Bowl speak Spanish, that means that I personally am going to have to also speak Spanish, or I personally am going to have to like change the way that I dance or with the music I play for my kids. And it's like, that's just not true. But that's the most kind of persuasive. Like, if that's your fear, I can see why you would have that fear. It's an incorrect fear. It's made up. The presence of someone near me speaking another language doesn't mean I have to change my way of life. But that's the research I've found that kind of, like, oh, that's what this is about, because everything else is just superficial.
But also in 2020, Shakira and J-Lo headlined the Super Bowl, and Shakira did a duet with, what's his name? Oh, Bad Bunny in Spanish in 2020. So what? Come on, people. Yeah. Come on.
They're beautiful women, and they can embrace that easily.
Even they came against, because I remember watching that and thinking like, okay, that's a lot of fun. And then there was a lot of issues with the fact that these women looked wonderful, and they were like, oh, this is bad for older women because now the beauty standards are changed. Like, even that, it's like, just because you see someone else doing something doesn't mean that you suddenly have to do it. And it's just, somehow we can't seem to get it around our heads that, like, if I watch J-Lo and she had work done, it doesn't mean I have to have work done either.
But you know what? It's so funny that you said that about if someone's standing next to you, it means, oh, I have to learn Spanish. Yeah. The closed-mindedness of that is, I remember years and years ago, I must have been, if I was 20, I was living with 3 other girls in a 1-bedroom apartment, and I had a friend who was gay, a lesbian, and the women my roommates, they were like, well, we don't want her to sleep over. Why? Well, she might want to have sex with us. I'm like, okay. Yeah. Excuse me, how did we go from she's coming over to stay over to fucking you? So I understand that. So that's a closed-minded thing, and that was, what did I say? I was 20? That was almost 50 years ago, ladies and gentlemen. So people are yes, I'm very old, Dean. I'm 2 years away from 70. Okay, so we won't even get in.
But then you should be like, and in your story, and cut to she had sex with all the women in your room.
Yeah.
Cut to the orgy scene. It's like, like, you were right. That's why she was all up to no good, that type of thing. But that brings us to something else that this week that was an act of resilience with the LGBTQ community. Trump administration takes down the pride flag from Stonewall in New York, which is, it's a state landmark, but it's also a federal landmark now, right? So there's a little piece of property where the flag is on, the U.S. flag and the pride flag. And that's what all this was about. And the Stonewall, everyone listens to the show knows, I mean, it was really the origins of the modern gay rights movement. Like, that's where it began and went forward. So they made him the government was like, take the flag down. And then yesterday, 1,000 people showed up and elected officials put the flag back up and no one got arrested. I thought for sure, I'm like, they're going to arrest somebody, but they didn't arrest anyone. They put the flag back up. And I think it was a great act of resilience that we're not going to sit here while you try to erase our history. Not in New York, I can tell you that. In other parts of the country, if you're in a really red state in a rural area, you might not want to do that, but you're not going to happen here. So, I mean, Andrea, what's your reaction to this? I mean, it's kind of, this commemorates the 1969 riots, which really was such an important moment when you told people in the gay community about their fight for equality really began there.
I mean, this is just another example of the Trump administration doing different versions of what we've been talking about, which is saying, oh, is someone different from you? Did someone do something that threatened a status quo that you once understood to be quote unquote normal? Is someone gay or is someone speaking a different language? We must be afraid of them. We must be angry about it, and we must erase them from our history. And it's just I hate to say it, he's very good at it. He's very good at finding any reason that two people might be different from one another and turning it into some kind of thing that somehow is working against the country. And of course, it flies in the face of what this country is actually supposed to be about. And Dean, I'm with you that it's the act of getting it back is huge. I mean, these little symbolic things can go a long way, and it kind of gives me hope that there's a voice. And think of all the people for whom Stonewall is a personally important landmark. To just have that symbolism back in place is very powerful. And I agree. I'm kind of want to go look at it. I'm in New York. I think a lot of us are in New York City. We should go look at it and make sure it's still there. But don't
you? But as far as with, like, do you really think that he's smart enough? I think this is all Stephen Miller. I really do.
Yeah, I think the 20-25 people. Yeah.
I think that he's the one, and the Heritage Foundation and Bannon. Yeah. I mean, because this has been Bannon's MO since the beginning. All he's ever wanted was a civil war between whites and brown people. So even though he's not part of it, and even though he looks like a festering boil, I think between him and Stephen Miller, they're the ones, marionette, whatever, pulling the strings.
I agree with you.
But again, with the fear of brown people and gay people, it's like we should be forced again to like be around people. I was from Texas and went to fashion school in New York City, so I am not afraid of gay people. And it's like I feel when people are homophobic, it's like that dad in American Beauty. It's like there's some underlying thing happening, especially with Trump. Like there's been rumors of some weird stuff happening, and so to go after those people, it's like you're just not included. That's why you're mad.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree, Dustin. And to your point about how you lived in Chile, you go to fashion school, like I do agree that we need to get more people exposed to just different people. Like a lot of the MAGA supporters who are shouting these things live in all white communities in the middle of the country and have probably. I was at a conference in one of those towns and they served hummus and everyone was so upset and confused.
Really? By
the chickpea.
Yeah.
Outlaw the chickpea.
At one point, there was also baba ganoush, and they were like, what is this? I was like, I don't even think you want to hear.
It's delicious.
Yeah. But that's what we're up against. It's like you're afraid of something because you don't understand it. And if you just
so stupid.
Like,
I remember in Texas, there was a controversy because they use a term for a big windstorm, which is haboob, which is an Arabic word, but that's the real term. And they're like, these Muslims are trying to take over America. And the National Weather Service actually said, that's the actual term. I mean, and there's a lot of words that the basis in Arabic or all the foreign languages, of course, Spanish, but in Arabic that we use in society. And still, people don't know because it's part of our culture. But that one just sounded like Arab.
I thought the purists would all get mad that you were saying boob, but
boobs. That would have been like Beavis and Butthead. With it. So, but speaking of brown and black people, this week we learned that the Trump administration now is going to try to denaturalize people. Now they didn't say brown and black people, but we know they're not going to denaturalize white people.
The Swedes are not being denaturalized.
Right. And you're from Norway, you're okay, but they're going to try to. It's usually 100 a year. They want to get up to 100 per month, 100 to 200 per month. And go around and try to fabricate things in people's files. We know it's to make the white supremacists feel better that not only are we deporting, 1 million, we're going to actually get one to our citizens, take the citizenships away and deport them. And I think part of it is to scare people who are naturalized citizens from speaking out about Trump, to fear this, but it's to give the white supremacists more joy. This is the joy they take. Like you don't need to deport 100 people a month. It's meaningless in the picture of America. But it's the more like, look what we're going to do. We're going to get rid of even brown and black citizens to make you feel better about your fragility and insecurity as a person. That's America. That's where we are today. I mean, Carole, I don't know where this goes, but this is really ugly if this happens. About 800,000 people become naturalized citizens every year. So getting rid of 100 a month is really, it's not about the numbers. It's really about sending a message that we're coming for you.
Yeah, but look, I can tell you that as soon as he was reelected, and I travel with my passport now.
You do.
You don't know what they're going to change they're going to change their mind and go, no, now we want the white old Jewish women. Who the fuck, you know what I mean? You don't, so it's, here's the world is better with a mixture of people.
Sure.
It really is. I used to, my rule when I was raising my son was, I says, you can say whatever you want, but you can't punch down, you can't be racist, you could say fuck as much as you want, because hello, mommy. But
right.
we had a little boy one time, I was driving him to Little League, and he said, oh, Carole, you're a comedian, can I tell you a joke? And he starts, it was the beginning of a very racist joke. Wow. And I literally, it was one of these, we were driving and went, I stopped the car, I unlocked the door, I said, get out. And he goes, whoa. What do you mean? I said, get out. I said, you are not saying that in my car. But it's funny. I said, no, that's not, he couldn't understand that, because he had heard, now where did he hear that? If they were 10, where did he hear that from? Of course, he heard it from his parents. Right. So, I've never understood. I mean, this show is too long to discuss my feelings. I grew up in the 60s in New York City when busing started. Do you know what I mean? And
busing started with schools to integrate.
Yes. And we had a young lady, and I'm going to tell the story now if you don't mind. But in the sixth grade, she came into my classroom. It was all white Jewish kids, and the teacher said, she just came in. Would you, who wants to sit with her? And no one raised their hand. And I went, sit her with me. And we were best friends all through sixth grade. And when years later we reconnected, and she said to me, Carole, nobody would talk to me but you.
Wow.
So I don't understand this whole, oh, you're a different color or you're a different this. Right. The only thing I will say is if you believe in this asshole's line of thought, fuck you. That's that's
nice.
Yeah.
Did you tell her that? Did you tell her
I
the
don't
racist
travel.
Joke?
Yeah.
When are we going to hear it?
Did you tell her the racist joke that your person oh, that was funny. Let me tell you this joke this kid told me.
No, but he didn't actually tell the joke. It was one of these,
the Get Out kid?
Yeah, no, it was one of those jokes where it's like, a white guy and a black guy and a Spanish guy walk in. I was like, get out of the car.
Do you remember? Andrea, I don't know if they had it when you were kids. They had these Polish joke books and Italian joke books. They're the most racist garbage. Now you're like, this is awful. They sold it in the store. You go to Barnes and Noble, it's right there next to the normal books.
We eventually, I think, became a bit woke, and then it became blonde jokes was where.
Right. Yes.
That was the big one.
Yep.
Oh.
Racist against blondes, I guess.
Yeah, but in vaudeville, look at the Marx Brothers. Chico Marx was not an Italian, but was. You know what I mean? That's back in vaudeville. Everyone, it was all ethnic characters.
Sure, and it was funny stuff. And I just saw the documentary on Mel Brooks, which was really good. It was a two-parter.
Oh, that was brilliant.
About the early days of comedy in the 50s there, and what they got away with. And it really wasn't that risque in a way, but I imagine at the time it probably was more so because about Mel Brooks talking about being Jewish at a time when there was anti-Semitism after World War II, but he didn't care. He did the Jewish characters. Now they brought that up. I thought it was really interesting. So it's going to be, look, let's touch on, by the way, we found out, those tariffs, guess who's paying for them?
Oh,
no surprise. Yeah. But now we have backed up for it because Trump said, remember the foreign countries are going to pay for it? Well, a new study by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York found that in 2025, 94% of the tariffs were borne by consumers and the companies. So it got the companies absorbed it or we did, but when the company absorbs it, we ultimately are paying for it. And there's another study, the Tax Foundation, this year, tariffs $1,000 a household, and this year coming up, it'll be even worse. So we're the ones paying for it. And I don't know who thought for a second we were not going to pay for it, but I mean,
just
Dustin,
like
have you seen
paid for the wall? Like it's just
right?
it's
That
not
remember
how
that?
reality works.
But Dustin, I've seen I don't today the consumer price index came out and they're like inflation is not high. I'm like, Every time I go to the store, every time I look on Seamless, the prices are going up. I don't know. I'm like, stop this. This is ridiculous. And it keeps going up.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of say one quick thing about what we were talking about.
Of course.
I don't travel with a passport. I travel with my Native American enrollment card. And so if anybody wants to question that, I question their American citizenship.
Nice. Again, what are you doing here?
As Billie Eilish said, there's nobody illegal on stolen land.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, so that's the whole
That
thing.
makes very upset.
Come on over. If you have a crappy country and you can't get a job, come over. I'll hide you in my basement. I don't care. But
what
yeah,
about
the tariffs.
You traveling around the country. What are you seeing?
What's up?
You travel the country. So what are you seeing? Are you seeing price? I guess in parts of the country, I bet your prices are it's all relative. New York, it's really bad. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I was panicked about eggs, 4 months ago, and then now I guess it's down again. I mean, I don't know. It's just everything is always expensive to a comic. So I don't, we're kind of in a different world. That's why we do comedy, because we get food for free.
Only the left side of the menu, Dustin. Come on, only the fried food.
Hey, those chicken fingers will get you through a weekend,
Andrea, what are you seeing in terms of prices? And I think people know we're the ones paying the cost, because that's why the approval of Trump on the economy is its lowest. Right. It's worse than the first term. Like first term was actually pretty good. It's not good at all. People are feeling the pain, and you can't trust the numbers, the data. Speaking of data from this administration, the jobs report came out a couple of days ago. It was better than expected. I can't believe it. I have to be honest. I don't believe it at all.
One of the many casualties of this administration is our trust in federal data, and it's a really serious problem. And we're not going to see it. We're starting to see it. We're talking about it right now, but it's not going to really mess things up until it's way too late to do anything about it. So I was trying to find some federal workforce data to figure out how many people had left the federal government in the last year, and it's like a lot of the data that used to be publicly available is now through this funny dashboard. You can't really compare where people left or how they got fired. And just the fact that we now have to question any data that comes out of it, and separate from the actual government data, to your point, Dean, about approval ratings. I mean, Gallup just announced that they're going to stop running their long-running approval ratings. That's huge data. That is one of the few sources that you can go to and actually see, well, how does this Trump administration approval compare to like Truman? Like it goes way back. Like this is a resource I use a lot. Mm-hmm. And there are certainly other polling outfits, but none that have that history. And
above board, Gallup's always been viewed, the methodology as being very respected. So it's not been an issue. Exactly.
And so the fact that, and now we're arguing about like, have prices gone up, have prices gone down? I mean, one of the things that misinformation and poisoning our sense of trust is it just causes chaos and it causes confusion. And so that means that if you're on one side of the political spectrum, you can say, see, these prices went down, and someone else can say, no, they went up. And so it's just caused mass confusion. I know personally in New York City, I'm paying more for everything, to the point where I was like, today I got some kind of tax document in the mail, and I was like, can we all just agree to not pay our taxes? Like on top of all of it, I have to give this administration money. Like take out what I've paid for tariffs, and then we'll talk about what taxes I owe.
Yeah, that's a good point. Trump's tax. Before we run out of time, I want to give everyone a chance to plug where you're working, what's going on. Carole, where can people check out your stuff?
Just go to CaroleMontgomery.com and funnywomenofacertainage.com, and we'll be in South Milwaukee March 6th at the South Milwaukee Performing Arts Center, and the next day in Skokie at the North Shore Performance Arts Center, March 6th and 7th that weekend. So those are the big dates that are coming up. There are some tickets still available. And then, I'm all over the I'm all over the internet.
That's very good. And Andrea, where can they find your stuff?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Jones-Rooy, JonesRooy, and jonesroy.com. I have a podcast called The Political Reality Podcast, and we sort of talk a lot about data and political science behind all the nonsense. And I have shows tonight as part of Don't Tell New Jersey. Very exciting.
Don't Tell New Jersey?
That's right. Yeah.
All right. Don't tell it. And what about you, Dustin?
You can find me on Instagram at Dustin_Chafin, and go to DustinChafin.com. I'm touring. I'll be doing an arena tour this month with Nate Bargatze, and I'll be doing a cruise ship near you, Royal Caribbean, all that fun stuff. And also check out my podcast, Chasing Comedy with Brian Scott McFadden, where we take topics and write jokes on the air, and then we compete against an AI comedian, and it's kind of a lot of fun. So
that sounds great.
Cool. That sounds very good. Well, you guys have all been great. I really